Hey Ted, Robert is out today, so Jeff is gonna be filling
Oh,
in.
sorry. My apologies.
No worries.
I'm no Robert, but I'll do my best. So there's a big one.
Uh, Annie, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Oh, all right. Okay, let's get right to it. We'll call the meeting to order. And can we get a roll call
Committee Member Maloney,
here?
Committee Member Cow will be absent today. Committee Member Coulter. Here. Committee Member Mallory.
And many of your, whether or not you're present.
Thank you. Chair Parkhurst will be out today. Committee Member Lesser.
Here.
Committee Member Mahmood.
Here.
And Committee Member Byers.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you so much. First up is general public comments. Are there any members of the public at any of the remote locations?
Not here at CPA office.
Do we do Zoom comments or no?
If they are at a remote location, yes.
Okay. Seeing none, let's go to the consent agenda. I hope everyone had time to review the two items on here, and we'll take a motion when we're ready. Committee Member Mahmood?
Yes,
I'll second the motion.
I do have just one slight nit, and I'm sorry, I'm opening up the document right now, but it's on the page that reflects, and I think, Lindsay, that this is something that you said, it's referring to the fact that on the RFO that we're interested in renewable energy sources, and I assume that the reference is to, or that we have a preference for steady state or non-intermittent renewable energy sources, because obviously we're going to be interested in renewable energy, but I think we want to qualify the type of renewable energy that the innovation solicitation is trying to attract.
Yeah, I think I need to see the context. But I don't know that we have a qualifier right now in terms of the type of energy. John, does that sound familiar to you?
If I may jump in, Director Maloney, may I take roll call so we can proceed with the item? Would that be okay?
I believe we did.
I'm sorry, I think we already did roll call.
For the consent?
I think, well, we have an
We're not ready.
yeah, we have we have comments on the minutes, it sounds like, from the last meeting, so I think we'll get through that, and then we'll take up Chelsea's motion with a second. Diana, are we clear on your concern, or we want to find it?
Okay, it's on page, it's 6 of the PDF. And it is on the second paragraph. So it's in the middle, beginning with the sentence, as for ranking, a project that offers a renewable energy source like geothermal would be desirable. And I thought that the reference to geothermal was focusing on the fact that geothermal is steady state, it's a non-intermittent renewable energy source. So I thought that more accurately reflected what you were saying.
I see what you're saying, and I agree, yes.
So I would
Is there
just
a proposed amendment to how the minutes read at present? I'm about to call you council member, Mahmood, but it's director.
So I would just suggest adding in front of the words renewable energy source, inserting non-intermittent. And with that, I'll second Committee Member Byers' motion.
I assume Committee Member Byers is okay with that amendment. If so, we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Okay, that was a motion by Committee Member Byers and a second by Committee Member Mahmood to approve the consent agenda with modifications to item number 1. Committee Member Maloney, how do you vote?
Yes.
Committee Member Coulter,
Yes.
Committee Member Mallory,
Yes.
Committee Member Lesser,
Yes.
Committee Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Committee Member Byers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Onto the regular agenda, we have one item here, receive a presentation on the 2025 Power Share Request for Offers launch. Staff, take it away.
I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Okay. Yeah, so here today to talk about the 2025 Power Share Request for Offer launch. Next slide, please. So CPA, this year we're going to have a busy procurement year. We have 4 energy solicitations that we're intending to run. We're here today to talk about the Power Share solicitation. There's no action requested as a result of this presentation. It's just informative. Power Share program, as a reminder, provides income qualified customers 100% renewable energy at a 20% bill discount from eligible resources located in and around disadvantaged communities. It's a program that's actually covered and administered through the CPUC. They cover the above market costs and bill discounts in addition to marketing and administrative costs from CPA. We currently have a capacity allocation under this program of 11.015 megawatts remaining. And we intend to launch the 2025 Power Share RFO to procure for this remaining allocation. As it stands right now, it's set to launch in June, and we will be required to obtain CPUC approval prior to launch. Next slide, please. Here's a quick overview of the RFO schedules across the 4 solicitations that will be occurring this year. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this slide, but as you can see, it's a busy procurement schedule. Should be lots of fun. Next slide, please. Okay, so some background on the Power Share program. It's a CPUC approved program. It's actually a combination of 2 tariffs, the DAC, the Disadvantaged Communities Green Tariff, and the Community Solar Green Tariff. These were both approved by the CPUC back in June of 2018. Power Share and Community Solar are the CPA branded names for these programs, so we just refer to it as Power Share from here on out. We were initially allocated 12.19 megawatts for its DAC for our DAC program and 3.37 megawatts for the CSGT CPUC program. But in June of 2024, the CPC actually issued another decision which modified the 2 programs. And as a result, our DAC program capacity was increased up to 18.285 megawatts, and the CSGT program was actually discontinued. CPA's capacity under the Power Share program is fully enrolled and can provide for a little over 10,000 customers. Right now, those customers are being served by interim resources procured from SCE, but the whole goal of this program is to transition those customers over to our own resources, which is part of it's going to be fulfilled by resources that we've procured in the past that are coming online, which we'll get into the next slide, and also ideally hopefully the resources we procure in this upcoming RFO. Seeing a question from City of Alhambra.
Yes, thank you, John. I have a question. If there's anything we should note about the CPUC's decision to terminate the green tariff program?
Not sure how to answer that exactly. Maybe
This is
See if someone's got an opinion on it.
yeah, I can hop in. Are you this is Alex Rickliff's program manager for these programs. Are you referring to the GTSR program, or are you referring to the Community Solar Green Tariff?
Community solar, the program that was terminated by the CPUC. I assume that because the DAC specific program was continued, that with the green tariff, that non-DAC communities could participate, and that the CPUC just decided to focus on DACs as the CPUC is becoming appropriately increasingly concerned about increasing costs in general.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of history and kind of why the CSGT program was discontinued. So the community solar program, the CSGT program, actually does serve disadvantaged communities. It's still a an equity program where that's focused on. It's similar to DAC-GT, where customers get 100% renewable energy and a 20% bill discount, but the customers must live in a disadvantaged community that is within 5 miles of a project site. So it's more of a localized version of power share.
Okay.
During a recent decision, or not really recent, it was last year, but of evaluation of the programs, they decided to close the community solar program and create a new version of a community solar program that is being referred to as the Community Renewable Energy Program. We are still in the steps of kind of figuring out what that program is going to look like and whether or not CPA will participate in that program. But all of our projects under the Community Solar Program are all still valid. We're still going to be able to serve customers, serve the community sponsors, and operate the program. We are just not allowed to run future solicitations for the program. But that won't really affect us because we reached the full capacity for the program. So it doesn't really affect us at all. Long story
Great.
short.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Hey, so carrying on here, here's a screenshot of the of the procurement that we've done so far for PowerShare. We've got a lot of resources that are coming online this year, so things are looking good in that front, and this will help us serve our customers as these come online. Next slide, please. So a little bit on the PowerShare RFO design and potential impacts on schedule. Since it's a CPUC program, we're required to submit an advice letter to the CPUC to request approval that we're administering the program through the RFO design and RFO materials consistent with the CPUC rules. The June decision allows for the inclusion of storage resources and also established a process to update the program's cost cap. It's going to take, the CPUC's told us it's going to take several months before that's finalized and before they can essentially figure out the final details of how that cost cap is determined. So rather than wait for that outcome, we decided to launch submit an advice letter now under the prior rules. We submitted an advice letter on March 18th. And the CPUC, it's completely within the CPUC's right and their decision to suspend approval of that advice letter until the rules are updated and request us to resubmit the advice letter consistent with the updated rules. So there is the potential that the whole schedule for this upcoming RFO could change or be delayed. We would also expect any additional RFOs that are launched to procure any incremental capacity that's not captured in this RFO, if it's approved, to be implemented under the new CPUC rules. Question again.
Yes, thank you, John. I assume that whatever is installed is going to be subject to a distribution interconnection agreement with Edison, that it's going to be, whatever the source is, it's going to be connected at the distribution level. And with that understanding, I'm wondering, in our RFO, are we more heavily weighting proposals that emanate from an area or that are connected to a line that is more likely to be affected by a PSPS? In particular, I'm thinking about, I think Southern California in general has to think more robustly about having to anticipate the ramifications of our wildfires. And I assume that the utilities are going to be more aggressive in undertaking PSs as they seek to mitigate their liability. So it would seem that we would be doing our customers a favor if we gave some additional bonus points to an area that is the subject of more frequent PSPSs than others.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'll say that the evaluation criteria doesn't directly weigh the potential for a PSPS event. We expect all of these facilities to essentially be offering in probably at the same pricing node, and that's about as granular as it gets when it comes to the valuation. But we do ask a large number of development questions in our offer intake and ask for them to describe risks in a narrative. So there's potential to capture that information as well.
But I'll just say, I just want to clarify the existence of a small solar system on a circuit won't reduce the likelihood of a PSPS occurring.
Is there any opportunity for customers to receive energy directly, or not really?
Not through this program. That's something that we'll probably talk a little bit about at the upcoming board meeting, as far as we're looking at through Power Ready or just otherwise working with SCE to find opportunities to do more community scale resiliency to help in areas where there's PSPS. But at least at this point, that's separate from PowerShare.
Okay, it's something I think we need to think robustly about, because I do anticipate that we're going to see more PSPSs invoked by the utilities, because they're just getting hammered by these by the cost of the wildfires.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely on the agenda. And, the thing about it, I'll say, is that we can only do as much as for community resiliency as Edison will either allow or be able to facilitate. Because you're talking about linking together more than one premise. So then you're using Edison's wires to do that. You have to have them in on the deal. So that's why we've been so successful with Power Ready, I think, is that we've been able to do it just at single sites and provide that resiliency. When we expand that to more than one site, that's where it gets more complicated. So, but with that said, we're absolutely having those conversations and seeing what can be done.
Thank you.
Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so here's some key design updates for the 2025 PowerShare RFO. We're going to have commercial COD limit be December 31st of 2028. Project size is going to be increased from the last RFO up to 11 megawatts. That's designed to allow projects to fill but not exceed our remaining program capacity need. Contract term is also going to be increased from 15 to 20 years to increase the length of time customers could receive bill savings from each project. We're also updating our collateral requirements to match our current pro forma position. And finally, the solicitation length, we've decreased it. We've shed off about a month between the launch time and the time in which offers are due. The reason for that is, there's a couple of reasons, but it's generally better to have a shorter window as possible. And traditionally, the CSGT program, since it required a community sponsor, that usually took a little bit longer of a time for those offers to locate a community sponsor and submit offers into the RSO. So we're fully confident that with that program not being solicited for this RFO, we the shorter timeline is going to be acceptable and preferable for everyone. Next slide, please. And then finally, we have the PowerShare RFO schedule. We're planning on launching in June. We'll then be followed up with a webinar to explain the ins and outs of the program to any participants. They'll also have an opportunity to submit questions by July, and we'll submit responses to our website by August. October is when we're targeting to have the bidders' deadlines to submit proposals, and we'll notify their shortlist status by December. And then for the following months, we'll work through negotiations and finally submit an advice letter to the CPUC requesting approval for any selected contracts. That's the last slide. So that concludes staff's presentation. Happy to take any additional questions.
Go ahead, Diane.
John, I noted in the appendix that some of the prior PPAs were terminated, and I'm wondering whether or not we have revised our RFO as a result of these terminations. Is there something about the terminations that we should be more mindful of as we float the new RFO or analyze the proposals?
The PPAs, those terminated, I wouldn't say as a result of anything and as a result of the program design. One counterparty wasn't able to get approval to put panels on the top of the building ultimately from the leasee, and another counterparty, the economics didn't work out for them, so they couldn't commit to the contractual requirements. So those are known risks going into this solicitation, and we do our best to make sure that the counterparties are as good as possible and likely as possible to achieve COD. So the evaluation criteria is very much designed to pick the best projects, but I would say as a result of those two projects termination, there's little impact on the overall design. Rita.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm looking at slide 15 or slide 6, agenda page 15 of 27, the design and schedule of the 2025 PowerShare RFO. So I think it was the fourth bullet. So I know it says that staff submitted the advice letter, but that staff may need to resubmit if the rules change. Would that potentially impact your schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. If we're required to resubmit the advice letter, the schedule would be shifted.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on how much time would be needed for that?
I mean, presumably the CPUC has given us guidance that it could take a couple more months to figure out the program cost cap. And that's probably, if they did decide to not approve our advice letter, it would be that they want us to wait for that to be decided and then proceed with the RFO. So you could imagine that the delay would be at least, I would think, 5 months.
Okay. And just to clarify, the RFO is not going to be released until you get confirmation from the CPUC, correct?
It won't be launched. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Any other committee member questions or comments on this item? None. This is a receive and file, just an update. Is that correct?
It's just an update, right? It's just informative, yeah.
Yes, there's no action.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have committee member comments. Anyone with anything they'd like to share with the group?
Great job by staff. You're going to be busy.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, right? What's new?
It shows both the benefits and risks of running programs funded by the CPUC.
The gods on Mount Olympus telling us what to do. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm not Robert, but we'll welcome him back next time. And if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and adjourn.
Thank you.
All right.
Well-run meeting, very efficient, on time, succinct. Well done. We'll have you back again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you may
you.
not be Robert, but maybe our next chair for sure.
Not get ahead of ourselves.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. The time is 12:44.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.